What is the ideal body type for soccer players, and how does that change depending on what position you play? This is the topic of today's video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Andy. I'm a physiotherapist who specializes in soccer fitness and rehab. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with the goalkeeping position. So sad but true, there is a clear bias in the goalkeeping position for those who are taller than others. If you want to make it to the professional level, it's going to be tough if you're not at least 6 foot or let's say 180 centimeters. Now, do I see this changing in the future? Honestly, not really. But I think one thing to note is that managers are starting to get a little bit more picky about the skills that their goalkeepers have. For example, a manager like Pep Guardiola needs a goalkeeper who's good with their feet. He's not willing to sacrifice that in order to have someone of a taller stature, which may not be the case for all managers. Now, of course, you can look at Ederson and Manuel Neuer and say, hey, he wants a really big goalkeeper, but you also have to look at the likes of Victor Valdés and Claudio Bravo, who he recruited right when he came to Manchester City because they fit his style of play of being able to use their feet. And if we move to the center back position, things change, but very slightly. Again, there's a clear bias for players who are bigger and taller, specifically to go up and win aerial duels as well as duels on the ground. But if you're smaller, there's still hope because you can make up for it using one of two things. You can either use your supreme technical skill, which can help you stand out against other center backs who may not have their trait, or you can have supreme athleticism, which really stands out in a center back such as Lisandro Martinez, who is of course on the shorter size, but his vertical leap is absolutely insane and he can get up there with anybody else on the pitch. Now, when we talk about the wide positions being fullback and winger, we're actually going to put those positions together, mostly because these positions overlap a lot. They have similar responsibilities and honestly, they have similar body types. And out on the wing used to be a position where smaller players would dominate, but this is no longer the case. It is not totally uncommon to have a big, strong 6'2" fullback or even a winger. In these positions, your technical ability and your overall physical ability is what matters most, not necessarily your height or size. And this doesn't change too much when you look at the center mid position, but again, size is a consideration that needs to be had. As long as you're agile and technical, there's no doubt that you'll be a class midfielder. But what's most important, and the one thing that may hold some players back, is the center defensive mid position and exactly what your coach is asking of you if you play there. If your job is to win the ball back quickly and aggressively, you're going to need some size because again, you're going into the same type of duels as a center back, these 50-50 challenges that honestly size does help to win the ball in. But other than that, it's pretty much anything goes. As long as you're doing your role and you're fulfilling your job on the pitch, size will not limit you. And I think the concept of size being a limited factor based on your manager is most clearly shown in the center forward position. Again, depending on your team's style of play, let's say you play with a single lone striker, you're likely going to need some size, especially if your job is to have your back turned to goal most of the time and have other players play off you. Think of a player like Olivier Giroud or Harry Kane. But if you're playing more of a false nine or a second striker role, think of a player like Leo Messi or Antoine Griezmann. It may actually help you to be on the smaller side because you're a little bit more agile, and that balance of having a more physical striker with you will actually complement your game as well as your teammates. So all in all, there are some positions like goalkeeper and center back where size will always be a preferential option, but even then, there is a chance if you excel in other areas of your game. But when it comes to all other positions, really the world is yours and you just have to work to be the best player you can to prove that you should be one of the 11 on the pitch. Thanks for watching this video. See y'all next time. Peace and love.